ఇలా వద్దు. Oh fuck. సో ఇది ఒక్కసారి పట్టుకోరా,
10 సార్లు అయినా
స్టార్ట్ వే करके
అది ఆటో ఆఫ్ తీసేస్తాను అన్నిటికీ.
ఏది
ఆటో ఆఫ్ అంటే లాక్, ఆటో లాక్
తీసేయండి.
ఊరికి లాక్ పడితే మళ్ళీ బాగుండదు.
బ్యాటరీ 69 అంట.
స్క్రీన్
నెవర్
అది నెవర్
30 minutes పెట్టమను, తర్వాత చూసుకుందాం. ఇంకా నథింగ్, ఏం చేయలేదు. వాట్ ఈస్ దట్? రివెంట్స్.
మనం దాన్ని చూస్తుంటే
ఓకే, అంతే అంతే.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to the
Camera,
Cosmocon at Token 2049. I would request you guys at the back to come in the front if you can. Have a seat. We are starting our speaker panel now with Zaki Maina, who is the founder of Familiar Finance. We've got Sunny Agrawal, who is the founder of Osmosis. Akhil Reddy, who is the founder of Dojima Network, and Vikram Bhushan, the founder of Hyperscience. We're going to have a nice discussion about navigating cross-chain liquidity challenges in the Cosmos ecosystem. Could you please come on stage? Thank you.
మీరు
రెండు
వీళ్ళు రికార్డ్ చేసుకుంటున్నారు కదా.
యూత్లో ఎవరు అడిగేది?
వాళ్ళు
ఇప్పుడు నేను తిప్పాలో వద్దా?
ఈ లైవ్ని ముట్టుకోవద్దు.
ఓకే,
ఇది పెడితే ఇలాగా
I really appreciate some of you making it here because I know there
అప్పుడప్పుడు ఇలాగ
are
వచ్చింది.
400 plus events and just you all coming here to listen to all the Cosmos projects who have been building in this bear market. And I also appreciate our guest speakers, Mr. Zaki and Mr. Sunny, to be here and help or share their experiences like being OG in the space. But I'm sure like there are some people who might be new to the Web3 industry, so probably a round of introductions. Maybe we can start with that.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Akimanian. I've been working on Cosmos for about 9 years, which is a billion years, basically, is blockchain. I'm the co-founder of a project called Familiar Finance, which uses Cosmos Tech to power an Ethereum application, which is generating, allows for very sophisticated DeFi strategies A number of our strategies have been very successful and have been offering very high yields. TVL has been growing about 30% a month. But I work on like many different things in Cosmos, from like helping launch the native USDC yesterday to also launching the staking module yesterday. Let's see, I work on Celestia, I work on Core, I do a billion other things.
Hey guys, hello, my name is Sunny. I'm one of the co-founders of Osmosis, which is a DEX app chain focused on being the best interchain, focused on being the best interchain DEX. And yeah, I've been also working on Cosmos for a while, not quite as long, but since 2017, and just excited to push the bounds of the Cosmos and stack in order to build the best exchange product.
And along with the speakers, we also have like two of the projects that are building in Cosmos, and I tried to set this up in this way so that we are new ones, and then you guys are having OGs, so we could have a fireside chat. I had from Achilles from Dojima.
Hello everyone, I'm Akhil, I'm the founder of Dojima Network. Dojima Network is building an omni-chain layer 1, trying to bring together the whole Web3 ecosystem onto one unified layer, and really close to accomplishing that. You just follow our social channels and you can see the updated website, so you get to know what exactly are we doing. Just really check that out.
My name is Vikram, and I am co-founder at 5%. We are building a cross-chain identity infrastructure. The goal is very simple: to how can verified users. First is to verify users on chain, and the second goal is to bring these users seamlessly move across these different chains. And for that, we have different toolings and different infrastructure. And sorry, I am also a little nervous. So yeah, and I'll start with the questions. The first question goes for Zaki. And this question have been the most asked question by all the most of the builder program projects. Being an OG in this space, how do you navigate the challenges of fundraising during the bear market?
Yeah, I think without a doubt, access to capital for Cosmos projects, access to capital across the entire ecosystem and access to capital to Cosmos projects is enormously a challenge. It's definitely one of the, I think the sort of overall question has been, the theme has been, Cosmos liquidity. I would say, in general, this is probably, we're going through a phase of where, the capital markets ecosystem and narratives are somewhat against Cosmos. People view the emergence of the Arbiter orbit and the entire L2 ecosystem as a real credible alternative competitor to realizing the app-chain thesis outside of Cosmos in a way that doesn't really benefit Cosmos. People are very unclear about where in the Cosmos tech stack value rules, what makes tokens valuable. We've also been struggling with a bunch of things that are very real. The Cosmos staking module is really inflexible from a tokenomics point of view. It doesn't give you a lot of tools and it worked well for us in 2019, 2020, 2021. And it, to a certain extent, has been working okay for Atom, but for virtually every other Cosmos chain, it's really been kind of a significant weakness in the ecosystem. Osmosis liquidity has been pretty terrible for the last year, also making it really hard for Cosmos chains to sort of succeed. There's definitely this sense of, that we've fallen behind in terms of users from Ethereum, etc. The biggest thing, I think all of this reality has been relatively obvious for, pretty much since Terra collapsed. And so the question has been more what do you do about it? what do we do about it is we have to grow the ecosystem. So Sommelier has been very focused on building an application that taps into the user base. We're starting to take steps towards integrating and like making Sommelier more part of Cosmos, and we want to bring like the assets from our strategies and incorporate them more into Cosmos 95. So that's one path to grow. The stuff that like basically launched in the last 24 hours that I've been working on for 2 years, which is Noble USDC, MetaMask Snaps, the Liquid Staking module, are all designed to like alleviate a lot of the like core reasons, or like at least test the hypotheses as to like why Cosmos has struggled so much to grow compared to the ecosystem. But if your hypothesis is people want to be able to access apps from within MetaMask and like access Cosmos within MetaMask, installing Kepler is too much of a barrier, then Snaps will if the challenge is people don't want to bridge stablecoins from Ethereum because it is very expensive. Noble USDC over the next couple of months is going to alleviate that. If you're building an application in the DeFi ecosystem of Cosmos, capital is really constrained. The Liquid Staking module, sort of gives easy access to about $400 million of staked Atom that could potentially become ingredient. So fundamentally, what Cosmos must do to navigate the funding environment is grow.
Questions again. So, what do you recommend to the devs who are building now to convince, like, for you to get investment? Like, what some builder program projects can do to navigate the future?
Yeah, I think like the biggest reality is like you need to present a plausible plan to grow. That isn't entirely contingent on the ecosystem growth. Like the biggest problem that I see with most Cosmos projects is they tie their growth expectations to be okay. The ecosystem gets bigger, we can get bigger with the ecosystem. Ultimately, growth is going to be created by projects that decide to go out and grow independently of the ecosystem, and that ultimately is what makes the ecosystem better.
Thank you very much. Next question is for Sun. And this is also as a pain point. I see many developers using Cosmos SDK, but in the end, they don't launch any Cosmos ecosystem. And the reason being, like most of them, they just say like liquidity is missing. Since you are, I consider Cosmos as one of the biggest liquidity hubs in Cosmos. At least personal perspective, not saying general. So what is your viewpoint that Cosmos could, from your perspective, understood what science is probably you can also add to that, like what Cosmos needs to do to attract these developers back to launching.
Yeah. So I guess like similarly to Ethereum, what does it mean to launch Ethereum? What does it mean to launch in Cosmos? Like, do you have to be branded as Cosmos? Are you as part of IBC network? Part of Cosmos? If you look at something like Celestia, they're not very proud about their Cosmos branding, but they're launching, and the only bridge that they have is IBC, and like Osmosis is going to be the primary guest for liquidity. With UIDX, like similarly, like Osmosis will probably be the primary guest for the new UIDX token once it occurs. And so I think this is kind of what Saki was saying, was that like at the end of the day, it's not about like you need to just call yourself, oh, we are, like even Terra was another example. Despite not being very loud about Cosmos branding, Osmosis was the primary guest for USD. And so, like, I think the goal that what we need to be pushing is like get people using the Cosmos SDK stack, because it's the best stack, and then people will, use IBC to move assets around, and this is what Saki's saying, like, we don't need to overemphasize, like, oh, this is a Cosmos ecosystem, and like draw these strict lines. Like, as the stack is used, as more people use these products, the entire ecosystem will grow. Like, and you can see something similar with like the EVM, right? Like, even though, let's say something like Avalanche never called itself part of Ethereum, given that they were so EVM focused, the network effects of the improvement that the developers that they onboarded EVM and stuff, that bring the right tide lifts all boats, and I think that's what we need to just focus on. Is the pitch for Cosmos to developers needs to be that this is the best tech stack to build. These are the things that you can only do using this tech stack that you can't do any other tech stack.
Thank you. I would also like to know from okay, like you are building also using Cosmos SDK. So what got you into using Cosmos SDK, and how do you Dojima is bring liquidity to the communities, like what is that?
So, why are you using Cosmos? Cosmos is very modular and it's very developer friendly to build application on Cosmos. And in our architecture, we're using a multi-layered architecture. On top of Cosmos SDK, we are implementing an execution layer where developers could deploy their protocols and get the benefit from the application. And we're using this service layer, which is basically our Cosmos SDK layer, to fetch the liquidity not just from ETH-based chains, but even account-based chains like Bitcoin network and all other account-based. So any network reasonably integrated to our homestay. And we implemented various ways to fetch all of those liquidity data, both that all the ecosystems on one unified. We're trying to bring together all the data, the liquidity, all of these connected chains onto one unified lake. That's the main goal at Dojima. And I'd like to ask Saki so I keep following you on Twitter and you keep mentioning about Cosmos ecosystem needing different layers for different protocols to improve the overall Cosmos ecosystem. And we ourselves, we are already built the IBC module from our Cosmos chain, bringing liquidity and protocols around the Cosmos ecosystem. So at a macro level, so where do you see the Cosmos ecosystem going, and what do you think is needed for both the Cosmos?
So that means as we talk about the layers, that means some of them contribute.
Vikram.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the biggest weakness right now about the Cosmos ecosystem is there is frankly a lack of applications. There are, I can only really think of, basically, Osmosis is, we have a couple, we have Osmosis, we have Crescent, we have a few other spot decks, like Shade and Trip. We have, a decent spot decks ecosystem. Kujira has, this entire stack of multiple applications that have been really successful, but with the exception of calculated finance, hasn't really, there's no other version of those applications outside of the Kujira ecosystem. And it does feel a little bit siloed off. And so, one of the biggest, so when you think about the layers of the system, so you have basics like asset issuance, stablecoin issuance, liquid staking asset issuance. Great. You need spot dexes, you need perp dexes. So we have Lavana now, we have X2. Lavana is especially relevant because you put across multiple chains. We have some lending protocols, probably not the right ones or not all of them. They're not super flexible, especially compared to you look at sort of the next generation of lending on ETH with protocols like Dojima and Blue. which are all much more flexible than like the Mave and Compound. You know, so like osmosis from like a spot text point of view with the V16 upgrade, concentrated liquidity, like has like essentially like caught up with like state-of-the-art ecosystem spot texts. But like very few other parts of the application stack in Cosmos, and especially the things that we need to like consume the liquidity that's been made available with the liquid staking module. Like, what is going to absorb this $400 million? Like, $400 million of liquidity is there. Where does it go? That's a huge missing piece to like bringing in users. And like, if you are able to show investors, user numbers, TBL numbers that are up only, I mean, like, what are people looking at with like friends right now? They're like, okay, every day like what gets tweeted is like TBL up number go up, user number go up. Like, that's a very easy narrative to then sell from an investment point of view. What do people know about Sommelier? They're like TBL number go up.
Got it. Like, I'm just trying to summarize for myself. One thing is that existing liquidity which is present, it needs to be consumed in some different form. The basic economy has to rotate. Like the circular economy will rotate if we have a lot of gas or application specific to consuming this liquidity and then using it for water.
But until yesterday,
Yeah.
the entire DApp ecosystem was like fighting over baby right? Now there's $400 million of liquidity to fight over. That's a 10x of available liquidity to fight over. But the apps, and like app builders, were like, I mean, the ecosystem, this is a positive feedback. Like if people are successful at going from like fighting over that $30 million of liquidity to tapping into this $400 million, start moving the dial, that feeds on itself.
Thank you very much. Next question is a little bit on the regulations, and this is for my project. So, it goes to study first, but then that you can see like regulatory bodies are now different and then there is an aspect of identity coming in. So as builders, I do understand your perspective, like from the liquidity side, like we don't want the liquidity to not move in the ecosystem, right? But then regulations are coming. So what's your thought process around it? How the community would react to that? Adopt, not adopt, so what should we do? Shall we get it?
Yeah. I'm of the opinion that, we should be building as decentralized base protocols as possible. That's part of why, like, the Cosmos base stack is so enticing right now, because of all the app-chain stacks that actually give you a decentralized validator set. UIDX today is effectively a centralized non-custodial exchange, and they want to bring a decentralized exchange, moving their firm stacks onto the Cosmos exchange as they're doing it. And so, I think that for osmosis, like today the chain is pretty decentralized, but there's a lot of layers of the stack that are not quite decentralized yet. So we want to figure out how to decentralize all of them, right? At the front end, index the RPC of files. And I think what's cool is in Cosmos, we actually have a surprisingly high amount of new level projects, like decentralized products. And I think that we should be using these to create a cohesive stack, like our first cells, like bridge to deploy truly decentralized applications. So using Akash for decentralized compute, keeping your code on GitHubia and owned and managed by on-chain governments, using Lava for RPC, Kai for like data storage, right? And one of the nice things is that with having decentralized builders, You can also demand that your validators do more. So they should go on running index services, even web services. And the goal here is if you can build a fully decentralized system, we want to make something that's unstoppable at the base layer, and then the regulation gets pushed to higher layers, right? At the visual integration layer. But then, you can imagine there'll be many user interfaces that can all figure out how to apply local jurisdictions. Today, everyone is trying to build one size fits all that applies to the US regulatory system, and we need to avoid, get away from that.
Yeah, I would also say that in the early days of Cosmos, a lot of thought was, put into how to do proof of stake in a compliant way, how to do, at least from US securities, and actually in many other jurisdictions. One of the challenges is kind of as a crypto founder is the need to oscillate between energy spent on decentralization and energy spent on growth. I think it's one of the hardest things. And but it is a thing that we have, as Sunny is saying, we have real opportunities to try to do things differently than what the Ethereum ecosystem has done. And the Ethereum ecosystem has created, in many ways, a lot of different entry points for regulators to, one of the things that I just think about in the Ethereum ecosystem, and it's a challenge from a sommelier point of view, is, when you sign something, you don't interact with a smart contract in Ethereum, you have no idea what you're signing, what is it, right? And that means that you are very dependent on the front end that it comes from the product. You trust that the thing that you're signing is going to not steal all your money because you went to the right, you went to Uniswap, or you went to Somalia. That's the trust model. We always designed Cosmos, we launched Cosmos SDK with no front end, right? In the Cosmos Hub, no front end. There's no official staking interface, nothing. There were only unofficial interfaces. And we put the security in that transaction signing layer to say, hey, that's how we'll make sure people's money doesn't get stolen. I think those are the kinds of things that we started on the journey and we continue to make investments in Cosmos. We have something coming called Cyber Contextual, which is really a plain text explanation of this transaction is a swap. Enforced, it's going to swap this much Osmo for at least this much Atom, and it should say that on your ledger, it should say that in your wallet. You shouldn't rely on the front end. These kinds of things then open up more possibilities for decentralization. And because we can still, our base layer is not ossified in the way that the EM base layer is, there are opportunities for deploying decentralization. So as you find product market fit and you start to scale, those are the times that we start thinking about, okay, what more can we do in decentralization? How much of the control over the application can we actually push out of the organization?
Is it right to understand that if we improve education for the government to understand the lower level protocol? Because the way it will help the user probably.
I will say that my point of view is governments will be open to education after they've exhausted themselves on enforcement. That is the reality. So you have to build censorship resistant protocols. DeFi will not exist until governments first try to get rid of it and then fail. In the same way that cryptocurrencies only existed when governments were okay, we kind of realized that we can't make this work.
Thank you very much. There is one last question. This is more on this is technically Akhil we should ask you, but I will add on to that. So you see, developers when they launch on one chain, I see this going happening again. So there will be hype for some people. They will launch it, but then they end up not having the right liquidity that they wanted for their protocol to survive. It's a basic mathematics that goes on every DeFi project. Now the issue is to move this protocol from one particular chain to different chain is a huge task for the whole team. Do you think cross-chain can help there in some way, like let's say connected chain through IBC would possibly help there, or you see there is could be a different way of designing it? Or you think that this is not a valid question, it's fine.
No, I mean, it's an enormously valid question because, like, it seems like, I mean, it's very connected to like the failure or success mode, right? You know, there's some reason why we think that like Friendtech's liquidity is improving because they like launched on Base, okay, and like Base has had this like significant injection of liquidity that has come into it, right? Protocols had more success because they would launch on Arbitrum because there were billions of dollars of liquidity sloshing around Arbitrum. Getting, and like to this day, like getting liquidity to bridge and then stick around. Like we see what say go to market. Like, you know, they were very successful in getting tens of billions of dollars bridged into say. It just had nowhere to go, and then it was bridged back, right? So, having access to like, having access to things like Squid and Axelar and Wormhole and IDC, all of these things create new possibilities for go-to-markets within the Cosmos ecosystem. Getting the go-to-market right, though, is super hard. But like, the lesson is like, you keep launching until you get it right. But also it requires like, kind of like rigorously looking as a founder at like, what is failing? Like, what isn't working? We have this, one of the things that I think has been good is there is a Cosmos PD chat. I don't know how many people it is, but the Cosmos PD chat has actually become like a really good place for people to share like what is and isn't working for the code.
Got it. So these were like most of the questions that I had collected from the projects in the program. But I will open now questions to the audience. Some of my friends from Kai and the Octopus Network, they had a few questions for you. Can we have?
Thank you so much. So yeah, I have a duty to ask a question relevant to our work at Octopus, of course. I've personally been caught in the middle of this online on Twitter a little bit because I'm very passionate about IBC not just being a Cosmos thing. I'd love to hear either or both y'all opinions, all three y'all opinions, your opinion as well, on IBC interacting with other entities, because obviously extending the basic connectivity of Tau requires a little bit more patience, security exception. I'll talk more about that when I'm discussing Octopus's kind of point of view of IBC, but I'd really like to see more from adjacent ecosystems that have some similar need or are trying to bring applications online and also struggling a little bit with the sort of liquidity dance of things just showing up and then leaving, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty loose definition of IBC. Some people think IBC means you have specific like-minded groups, obtain change, all this stuff. I'm much more of an opinion of IBC is a set of, and I guess I approach IBC more from the app developers standpoint. And for me, it's like IBC is, can I use the same interface to talk to one chain as I do to another, right? And this is why things like the fact that so many bridge projects are using the Cosmos SDK, like Axelar, Wormhole, right? It makes it nice because then for us as an application, we have to have IBC do that, and then they do the necessary work to act like a translator for us. And so I'm also excited to do Polymer and stuff, which will make it so along with Axelar Wormhole is the permission to get their values and run this stuff. With something like Polymer, it'll be excited for more things to start using the IDC application understanding. So, I'm also pushing hyperlane would like try to be as close to some of the IDC app standards as possible, so that way, they are growing into the right bridge of the slushy ecosystem right now, and so they can sort of talk over hyperlane the same way as we talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like ultimately like the value of IDC comes from that like ability to like get applications quickly onboarded into your ecosystem. So like if your application supports IDC, can you have something like Squid enabling swaps into and out of your ecosystem like really quickly? Could we use IDC to like make Squid and Axor be able to you essentially if you have Axor Squid compatibility, you get like Axor bridging for free, Wormhole bridging for free. Some of the application layers that are existing on top of like Wormhole, Bridge, Hyperlane, and IDC native applications all can like sort of come into the ecosystem for free. I do think that like teams like Octopus and Composable have done like years of work trying to make IDC work on build those IDC pieces. And now the IDC application layer is actually starting to become richer, where there are more things in the IDC application layer. And the question is I don't know as much about the dynamics of the Polkadot or Near ecosystem, but how do you make it so that the IDC application layer sort of also comes in?
So this winds up the panel, and do we have more questions? Oh.
Hello. Hey. Thanks for the panel. This is a couple-part question. So, Sonny, you mentioned that there's interest in what this tech enables you to do that other tech doesn't. So, as a builder, there's kind of been a debate effort recently between Vbuild and Cosmos and L2. It seems like a lot of that debate rolls down into liquidity, and that kind of rolls down to bridging. So the questions are, what do you think this enables versus other tech and other stacks? And what's the landscape on bridging, and what do you think an optimal bridge, which one that will be, that will kind of bridge those interfaces?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, what are the capability? What can we do with the Cosmos SDK that we can't? I think right now, one of the most powerful ones is the amount of customization you have on things like fee markets and block-based construction. So we designed this thing 2 years ago called CI++, which is basically a way for your consensus protocol. Your application is more opinionated about how block production happens, and what's this? You can make decisions like, hey, on our decks, we want to make cancellation free, for example, right? That is something you can do where you need to have more fine-grained control over how gas markets work on your chain, how we want to maybe put cancellations automatically at the beginning of the block rather than in the middle of the block. So you can take the transaction, scan over them, reorder the transaction. We work with a scan to build this thing called POB, Protocol Builder, which is basically saying, hey, instead of having flashbots style auctions at some other layer of the protocol, you can actually build it natively into the protocol that makes sure that all the revenues go to your Cosmos stakers. So you can build that stuff natively by using transaction reordering. Other cool stuff we do with the fees market is in Osmosis today, you can pay gas fees in almost any token you want. You can pay, it would be silly if you needed Costco to pay fees, right? You can pay it ETH, USDC, Tether, Bitcoin, Atom, whatever you want. And the fact of the matter is, Cosmos stack is just only one that's today customizable enough to do that. I asked Coinbase engineers why they can't add USDC as a fee token in base, and they're like, we don't know how. OB stack is just so inflexible that you can't do that. And so I think that just goes to show how So I think the gas market, the e-market, and block space stuff is one thing. I think one of the things that I've spent a lot of time on recently is like account abstraction standards, but a little bit are baked in more natively into the chain than the standards that are currently being pushed in EVM, where you can actually take an existing EOA and convert it into a smart account, or like a smart contract account. So, given that most people today still onboard as EOAs, the reason I haven't switched to a smart contract wallet on Ethereum yet is twofold. One, there's so many different competing smart contract wallets, but two, I have an EOA that I've been using for like 5-6 years. It has not just like tokens and NFTs, yeah, I can trade in those, but it has like my DAO membership as part of this. It has my future airdrop credentials as part of this, right? I don't want to change my address, and so by making a backwards compatible account abstraction system, that's how you can do that. And I think a third big capability I'm really excited about is just making sure with privacy. I think that you look at the projects that are like doing cool stuff with privacy. Most of them tend to be in the Cosmos ecosystem. You have Armada, you have Elma, you have Secret Network, you have they all are taking like different approaches for privacy, but I think usually the thing is to do interesting privacy stuff and using the experiment and use property, and the EVM does not make that easy for you to do. But the OpsSDK very easy to add new cryptography primitives to do this sort of experimentation. And also like making it easier. One of the things that we're working on at Cosmos right now is making it easier to add privacy primitives to Cosmos with the smart contract framework. So basically, with the actual line of code, you should be able to turn certain state variables in your contracts private, but with like as minimal overhead as possible for the developer. So those are some of the ways that I think that like capabilities I think Cosmos SDK provides that you won't get in. Oh, so the last one was like I mentioned earlier, you have a decentralized validator set, you can force them to do more things, right? Like one of the other things that we're doing is a decentralized oracle, where instead of relying on centralized oracle providers, we could say, hey, so this is actually something Terra did, was they required all of their validators to run oracles and provide them in the chip as a decentralized oracle for the chain for how to do their main third system. They did it using transactions. What's nice is today with ABCI++, you can actually make it so you have guaranteed oracle updates on a per block basis. If you look at a lot of complexity of GNX today, they spend a lot of time dealing with chain oracle lag, but you can kind of avoid that issue completely by having these like in protocol provided price oracles, or in protocol validator provided index servers, routing servers, and stuff like that. So leaning on a decentralized validator to do more things.
Talking about the privacy side, and as a developer, so when we were looking at the signature schemes, one of the for GK snarks you need to implement baby jub. Now for us in Hyperscan it was very actually easier to implement on the ID stack. So basically it's a modular, right? So you can actually define these use cases in different modules. So specifically for DID, we were able to implement baby jub, which no other existing like ID frameworks have that. And there is a reason for that because of like it goes through. It's not. It has to be like if you have to do it something in EVM, then you have to change a lot of code in the whole EVM layer where the smart contracts goes through. But in case of using Cosmos SDK, we only had to implement on the layer where the DID transaction goes through. But which helps us now get like tooling compatibility with any other JavaScript-based or Rust-based, Snap frameworks. Like you can choose whatever existing SDKs that you have, and you can write dates and issue credentials using those. So I just wanted to add on to help us, probably you can also.
So I just want to like unpack the like L2's equal liquidity theme, because it like, so the first thing I'll say is ETH L1 has liquidity. ETH L1 has liquidity. It has large numbers of sophisticated active counterparties on it. It has like custodians. It has exchanges. It has a wide variety of assets. It has deep pools of liquidity in both lending markets and decentralized exchanges. You can move large cap tokens in size over ETH L1 liquidity. So all of these things are very true. ETH L1 has lots of liquidity. Okay. Then there are some L2s that have substantial liquidity. Arbitrum, OP Chain, OP Main Chain, Mantle, Base. But we're very rapidly moving from a world of a small number of L2s to like dozens, hundreds of L2s. So that's going to get you into a place of significant liquidity fragmentation. So now the question is does the liquidity go with your apps? Because like in a world of 100, if you're like launching the 200 L2 on Ethereum, you're not getting any magic Ethereum L2 liquidity because you are just tapping into the same fragmented liquidity that is being pulled in 200 different directions. So, which is like roughly the like reality of like launching a Cosmos SDH. So now you have to ask the question: is the liquidity tied to custodians and custodian support? Well, being an L2 doesn't inherently get you that much of an advantage there. Being an EVM gets you an advantage there. But like custodians are going to be struggling to support these hundreds of L2s in the same way that they've struggled to support Cosmos chains between Cosmos L. Is the liquidity tied to MetaMask? Well, we're going to sort of find out about that. We'll see how MetaMask snaps work. Is the liquidity tied to what assets that you have available, how your DEX ecosystem works? All of that is undergoing a lot of change in Cosmos. Mostly, I feel like the building an ETH L2 gives you a liquidity advantage is a fairly unexamined idea, and mostly like a superficial meme that will you're going to see whether or not there are substantial counter examples. We'll see how the DYDX chain launches. We'll see how the Bear chain launch goes. Like there may be substantial counter examples to this whole and ultimately, I mean, what we really suspect is liquidity will go where the most compelling application. And if you can build, if the Cosmos SDK, all the privacy and API functionality that Sunny's talking about is there, liquidity should follow that.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for coming here and speaking to the Cosmos ecosystem in Singapore. Also, virtually to all the builders program participants.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there cookies? I'm exhausted.
They're
We have the next panel from the VC panelists about navigating the Web3 investment landscape, trends, risks, and future prospects. That's a very interesting conversation that's expected. From Julian Su, the fund partner from Newtrend Capital. We have Parth Chaturvedi, who is an investment lead from CoinSwitch. We have Loktal Mukherjee, who is a partner from United States, and Harsh Agrawal, who is an investment partner from Cairo. Harsh is here. Okay. Harsh couldn't make it.
That's for the record.
First of all, I want to thank Dojima Network for putting on this event here. And it's like I think really good, pretty much covered everything from the tech perspective, and of course it's really good to look into this space from all the investment perspective. So I'll try to keep as short as possible because I understand everyone is like going to multiple events and listening questions. It's always a pleasure to speak with the colleagues from the investment space and to discuss the vision they have on the market in general. So that's I would like to talk with you to start from. So how do you estimate the kind of value investment landscape? So trends in the market and what is your vision for the market?
So, first things first, I think everybody is aware that tough times are happening, new investors are and rounds are taking much longer to make close. So, basically, I would say how I look at it is that tourist money is Web3 space. A lot of Web3 funds without proper investment thesis on Web3 into during this market. They were the ones to be But having said that, I just want to start a little bit about the way I've seen the space evolve over time. I joined the space back in 2015, relatively early, so that's fine. And kind of have been seeing the space grow relentlessly into the market over the last couple of years. It all started with Bitcoin, developments happening around Bitcoin. Then we saw the ambient explosion back in 2016, so that's already implemented and then again back in 2018-19 we saw a lot of layer 2s, sharding, scaling, all of that data from the space. And back again in 2021 it was again the apps. So if we go a little deeper into the analysis, you see that there's always been the infrastructure which of course then the middleware and finally the application. Now we can say that history doesn't always repeat, but I always believe it. So even this time I'm not seeing anything different. Now coming to how we see the Web3 trends as point of sales, we've been kind of looking at Web3 in 4 different buckets at this point of time. The first bucket being more of the aggregation market, where there are a lot of things out there, a lot of interface but we need to aggregate. That's the first one. Second being the financialization market, because we believe liquidity and capital access to Web3 has literally broken barriers. And when it comes to Web2, there are a lot of capital inefficiencies which kind of Web3 brings back. So we find definitely to be a strong play in the near future. The third bit certainly is going to be the intersection of the various virtual worlds that we have and the physical world that we are in. So Web2, Web3 and AI connected to the metaverse and the virtual world is another major field that we are looking at. And the fourth, we definitely believe irrespective of what people are building, at the end of the day all that matters for users is the ease of use of a particular product. So the ease of use is the fourth major segment. Now, if I have to go a little bit deeper into each of them, when it comes to aggregation and consolidation, you're looking at mostly the cross-chain bridges, which has a massive role to play in the future. One of my investment goals
great job when it comes to community presence. The second space, especially on decentralized finance, we believe there are a lot of banks which are already coming into the space. So when it comes to money markets, insurance, or liquidity products, or for that matter, all those LSD products, all of these, and especially the RWAs that's kind of going as a trend, I think these few sectors within DeFi is definitely going to have a major importance in the future. When it comes to AI, we are very strong. We strongly believe that AI is the next big need of the game, and there is no way we can deny it. We can say that it's more of a massive fact, but there is no denying the fact that changing the future AI is the reality now. So whatever helps build that space, be it GPUs, be it larger capabilities when it comes to running those programs, we are very heavily going on those companies. We invest in recently towards GPU.net. They are trying to build a decentralized computing ecosystem and doing it pretty well. And the fourth space that we talked about is more about the user experience builder. So a lot of wallet abstraction based on the things that we do, wallet identity, wallet abstraction. So it makes the user journey much simpler, also easier. All you need to do is if you want to scan and the user will be able to connect with the ecosystem. I think that's what our major focus is for now. It might evolve with time, but for now in this cycle, that's the major focus.
Sorry, sir. Thank you for covering for this comprehensive coverage of this space. I just want to add on to that, and I believe it could be a good question. I think that most of the consistently say right now that we invest in the infrastructure, and then of course everyone is specifying kind of infrastructure. I just want to also add on because you can of course collaborate on that, and then. Because I've been here in this space from 2017. There was an ICO boom, and there was a DeFi summer, and there are NFT boom, whatever. What is the next big thing? So it's just like, yeah, you can cover like the next and the focus of the investment, but I'm just wondering, what is that big thing that will speed up the next boom round?
I have two takes on this. One is from the institutional side, and the other is from the retail side. The institutions are coming for real world asset. There is no we already have like over $1 billion worth of US treasury. That's the easiest way for people to earn money or use money. And we see the big players like this stuff. So KKR is one. JP Morgan is working on different banking projects. So my background is from JP Morgan. I used to work at that project. They're working with the regulators as well. So actively the other thing on the retail side, I think it's easier for onboarding. So you mentioned QR codes. So if you remember the previous slide, not abstraction is these. They're going to make wallets seem as easy as the previous cycle did not have users because it was so difficult to onboard trying to maintain your credit cards, it's almost worth. We just need that one breakout app that basically gets involved retail users into this space.
I definitely completely align as far as the business is concerned. Give an example to the space. And again, on the institutions are going to right now how many funds which have this money available in the space are going to capital to make the kind of return that they want to. So they're looking for ways in which they're thinking of facilitate that. I believe that's going to be a major play. But at the same time, what we need to really look at as well is the regulatory side of things now. Because while we can always have the luxury of doing things without any regulatory hurdles, but at the same time, if we want sustainable growth, regulation becomes important. Because at the end of the day, the banks, the governments will not be even comfortable doing this. So I think a little bit of regulation, a lot of customer focused user experience, and a lot of DeFi international having said that, all of this also ties to the cycle, all of this also ties to the way the market behaves. When the market goes up, automatically a lot of people cancel. So I'm not writing off the bull market cycle the way it has been going in crypto for now. But apart from that, the three major things that we discussed there is the major focus for us.
Yeah, Also, when it comes to the institutional side of things, the same. Institutions are aligned with the regulators, so they can't get into the space without understanding that this is something that we integrate really especially used to regulators. So that's of course that's one of the measures from the from the user's perspective, we also resolve objects rather than for apps that will bring a little like this user experience. We usually also have two things is the most important. We will see it as a real resolution or whatever, but that is something that will breach the gap between about 2 and 3. So we need to target as it says like layer 3, which is basically the customer layer. Because everyone who's getting into the space, they just need like, and also the counter structure and everything. So I believe the next person also has perspective. It will be speed up from the institutional liquidity inflow with the help of regulations and, of course, RW always is, and from the user perspective, customer perspective, like good application with good UI UX, and then at the same time, it's super important to realize that just like middleware solution for them. It's not just smoothly moving the application without any various
Just want to add one point around the institutional one specifically because in the last cycle the question was when are the institutions coming? Right now the institutions are already here. They're taking a more formative approach in the regulations. BlackRock planning for the so I think it's going to way more none of this was possible in the last time, and all this is happening. Listen, and this is happening right as making those
they focus on battery infrastructure and battery infrastructure at the same time. So you really want to realize everyone is doing some optimizations. If you are not familiar with the Web3, which is generally application is using as a optimization. But if you want to have some discussion over the side of the it's really good trying to cover both. So, and how do you maybe if you do my research because I believe covering everything. So, how do you foresee the market? Where do you expect the next to run in your team? Because we're talking something
which I don't think is very far considering how the global economy is functioning. And once that starts happening, there are a couple of cryptos just like triggers. Previously, how it has in the past, and instead of looking for advice, so I would say this particular would be same triggers, triggers looking at you're not looking at fancy marketing, you're not looking at triggers, because complete beats doesn't really work nice. 2024, we are assuming that there's going to be some movement in the and then the way it has teams first, and teammates are watching you, then the fans are watching you, and then the teams are watching you. So we don't see any reason why that should not be the trend as of now. So if it goes to me, then I would say that I can clear the whole
It's good to know that our people are surviving, but I think I don't know that's it's interesting to see that right now. Like we're back to the betting, so we get all this and change their right now, I believe everyone is here in this space. Like, first of all, as you see, there is never a bear market in Asia. In Asia, there is never a bear market. Everyone is and simply everyone is still. No matter what's happening right now, it's
so there's no reason why the space is soon enough, those things will be it's now
yeah, let's go this circle. And it's good work and people will know better. So yeah, I'm going to cover pretty much everything. Just in case if someone has a question, yeah, drops
So you cover most of infra side and other sides, but anything about Web3 gaming? Is it still we have to be bullish, or you have to be conservative, saying that the quality is not there, the play to earn is not perfect idea and is failing somewhere? What is your opinion?
Like more than 70% for us in the last 3 years. Having said that, a lot of them have not really done that well, so like can't take the credit for all of this. But I guess I'm really good is if you realize that the building of games is really possible. It doesn't have to and there's a lot of promises that people in the developers have made in the last cycle. Thinking that we have so many that doesn't really happen. Most of these companies are they're not having enough confidence that has been a consistent trend that we see. Second problem that we see in the game space like many people right now want to be stable. I basically like my understanding. We are focusing more on games. Like for example, we are very heavy on recently invested in many games. They are doing a very good job. You can also do that. So this game studios are doing a good job and it helps with the games very comfortable with the web games. Because at the end of the day, we don't really care what game we are playing. We really care about the quality of the game. And when you have maybe a couple of $1 million, we do expect it to be great. There are a lot of web games that are already there. Amazingly, people have been using them playing them for years. All we need is a great platform to make live or we can create a passion for the game and give those games in the ecosystem. I think that's what I'm doing.
So, because I believe we can say that today's also have a lot of games that we now portfolio. And talking about ratings, basically I believe right now there is a transition period for the Web3 games that everyone realize it's not that easy to build a game, and especially to make this game succeed and to make people to play this game. And there are not that many gamers within the Web3 space. So most part of the customers you have, they are not new gamers, but just the normal gamers, right? So they don't understand how to use blockchain. So during this transition period, what we have to do is, okay, rating games is basically what we call game infrastructure. So first of all, we are creating the tooling also, the infrastructure to smoothly convert work to games to web. So, and secondly, there is like no proper in-game economy, unfortunately. We tested different models, we test different mechanics, but like I can't say that there is one which can work, which can work consistently. So, for example, XMP, it worked that at that time, at that market, but it doesn't work right now. So gamify, and then people realize that it's just a speculation. So what we can do right now is to take, for example, some Web2 games, then we can build some quality. So it can be either like some cleaning solution or infrastructure strategy or some energy solving as the gateway to the Web3. And then, of course, like in a period of time, we can expect some proper Web3 games to come to the space. But I think it's going to be like 5 years. Maybe probably, as you mentioned, guys, like 2025, 2026, we could expect some good games. And of course, like as investors, we're here for the long term, and hopefully it will happen.
But having said that, just one point, like, we are definitely not giving up on games because game has always been a thing which even a 5-year kid plays as an 80-year-old enjoys, right? So at the end of the day, when it comes to mastery and adoption for crypto, we strongly believe that gaming would be a sector which is not very able, right? So definitely not giving up on games. We just believe that it's a transition time where the games will be using possibly the next 5 years that games will come where actually the real world games will become much more very focused. And then I believe
just said what I was going to say. Basically, like, the games, gaming is going to be the key for getting like mass adoption for everything. Because there are already gamers, they have like in-game assets that they exchange with gamers. It's like a perfect fit for blockchain. And big things are coming here. So EA Sports now has like integration with the Swoosh NFT marketplace. It starts buying like if somebody has because EA Sports starts giving you NFTs, the use case will like get more interesting for us. Big
so every cycle have some hero or some big game app. So this friend take is one of the thing, or what is the direction you see as a socialify or a particular successful hero will bring a lot of new users. So any other speculation about the application which will bring more, or like I say, next 10 million or 100 million users?
There is a part that is just part of it. Integrating.
Gaming as a sector is definitely one of the ones that's using it as a jump on users. Like other sectors, then there's loyalty programs, which are also like, then there they exist amongst like, certain sideload versions, like you use it for your airline miles, use it for like hotels, but there's not like a super app which like, sort of combines, which is possible via like an APK or like tokenization. Some people use again here or Swiss flag, Swiss super airlines, Swiss flag program, that's on chain. Etihad is doing their loyalty program on chain. I think it's and probably in sectors where the distribution is already
right now, so it's a pretty stuffy without like blockchain right now, but yeah, our role is it will now change sooner or later. The same for the whole creative economy. There are so many like bottlenecks right now, and even with the simplified space, we're here to build I believe like right now it's a bit marginalized, so DID. So there is like nobody universal DID solutions in this space. So somebody tries to build the ecosystem around it, then personally it's better to create like some kind of open source solution that you can integrate and it will be used by everyone within the space. So that's
yeah, just a couple of things that we have been noticing when it comes to the advent of super apps. Like there is this one company that we have been really closely following. So these guys work to found some really sophisticated apps, and I think those are the ways in which we actually get into the space. So
So what they did was they wrote an application. Some application was we use those applications data. That's the way we use these applications. We use our cloud video. That's the way we use these applications. And we want people for using a Visa card. That's the way to do it. So these guys were doing is like very smart. So they basically trying to put Visa. They said that transaction to the card. So these are so interesting. But they want people with some tokens. So basically they get onboarded to the network. Now there's an application like WhatsApp where you can on one side you can choose that particular app. All you can do WhatsApp and use plugin. Where why do WhatsApp? Because it's close to me. So they don't circular economy. People do the same activity that they're doing now. It's just that they're not directly without any and since they're getting some extra rewards, they're fine. So that's a smart move, and I think those are the things that will actually make sure these are applications to enable or onboard users, but at the end of the day, those apps or those make all the difference. Anything else?
Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much for the interesting discussion. That was really nice. Thank you.
Magandang pa, yun yung sura pa. పట్టుకుని వచ్చింది.
You want drink water?
No.
Is there any charging point near? वो यूज कर लूँ क्या? वो स्क्रीन के नीचे वाला. Okay.
you, man.
If someone shouts at me, I'll show you.
Yeah, no worries. No worries, you can hear అరే ఎక్కడెక్కడ నుంచి ఉంటారు వీళ్ళు అరే ఒక చోట ఉండండి ప్లీజ్
Oh, just a quick one. We have Akhil who's going to be introducing what Dojima Network does and give you a little bit of better understanding. It's going to be a small 5-minute presentation, after which the buffet shall be open.
Hello everyone. Thank you for all the respected speakers, VCs and participants out here. You made this event special. Now, I'll just give you a brief overview of what we're doing at Dojima Network and what's new at Dojima Network. So if you see the evolution of Web3 space, it started with a simple decentralized cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin, in 2008. And there was a need to develop decentralized applications and to solve which came Ethereum. But now if you see the landscape, there are a lot of layer 1s and layer 2s fighting for their market share. And back in 2021, there were a lot of options for developers to choose from. So there was Ethereum with Solidity, which is a larger ecosystem, the Solana, which is faster finality, and this Binance, which is new at that point of time, and which has a lot of plans. So there were a lot of options for developers to choose from. And to solve these issues, there were a lot of bridges, layers, blockchain protocols that try to connect all the different ecosystems out there. But there's a pressing need for a common layer between all of these different ecosystems that connects all of these ecosystems and access a unified layer for deployment for all these developers.
Louder.
That's what we're doing at Dojima Network. We're building an omnichain layer 1 that unifies all the trying to bring the whole Web3 ecosystem into one layer, and providing us base layer, deployment, and pulling together the utility assets and data from all of the connected chains into one layer, so that developers instead of going to converge into all the ecosystems, just need to come into one layer, and then they could go. The next question would be, how are we doing this? So we approach this through a multi-layered architecture. So we have the Hermes layer, which is built on top of Cosmos SDK and Tenement, and it's responsible for pulling in all the data assets and connecting to all of these different connected chains. And we have the deployment layer, which is the main omnichain layer, where this is where the developer will be interacting and with all the pulled in liquidity assets and data from all of the different ecosystems. So we have brought together a substantial ecosystem for the last major part of the last year, and we're also helping native protocols on different chains to solve their cross-chain issues and expanding the footprint on multiple ecosystems and not doing in a very easy manner. So we've organized a lot of hackathons and reached out to the community and all the parts of India and abroad. So we've achieved good metrics from all of these developers, and we're talking to developers on what are their requirements over the past 1 year. So after talking to thousands of developers over the last Web3 developers over the last 1 year, so we have tested all of their requirements to 3 simple basic things, which is being able to easily deploy, connect, and manage all of their cross-chain applications across all the different chains. We proudly announce the launch of our version 2 of our testnet with a lot of new features, and we are announcing the launch of complete cross-chain stack which includes the omnichannel layer, the cross-chain dashboard, wallet, explorer, and task services. So all of these, the whole stack of all of these services combined to provide developers an easy way to deploy onto one layer and easily deploy on one layer, and they will be able to easily not just connect with different chains, but also they could connect with the complete stack and create this complete omnichannel application. And we're launching a powerful cross-chain dashboard using which they could manage all of their deployed cross-chain applications from one place and a single user interface. So Dojima's future is really exciting. So what blockchain has achieved until now is great, but the future, we're trying to break barriers and bring in a lot of innovation in the current blockchain ecosystem, and our team is working closely in these areas, specific areas, and trying to integrate them into our blockchain architecture. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so much.
ఇంకా ఏమి ఇంప్రూవ్ చేసుకోవాలంటారు అంటే ఎవరు ఈవెంట్ ఇచ్చారు అన్న విధంగా లేదు. తినడానికి వచ్చినారంతే. ఏమండి
అది ఎప్పటికీ వెళ్ళదు ఇంకో జీవితాంతం. మైక్ ఆన్లో ఉంటుంది లైవ్లో. సరే లైవ్లో ఉండిపోయింది జీవితాంతం ఉంటుంది. కంపెనీ తప్పు. నేను ఒక్కొక్క వీడియో అంత చేస్తాను లేట్గా ఎందుకు చేస్తాను. నేను సినిమా ప్రీమియం వీడియో గంటే చేస్తాను.
So folks, we have the third panel, which is the VC panel. We've got Vaibhav Ali over here, who's head of community and growth from Riva Mentors. And we've got Manal Rinki, partner at Cookie Ventures. Dhaval Parikh, partner from Green Tribe. We've got Sally, who's the VP of ThinkTech, and Sumit Megani, who's an investment analyst at Cosmocon as well. Welcome, folks.
Akil, mic.
నేను హ్యాండిల్ చేస్తాను.
మైక్.
Thank you, dear.
ప్లీజ్ మైక్.
Well, everybody, a very good evening. I know a lot of us have got after party plans, and a lot of us want to plan but don't have the tickets. So, if you pay attention to what these guys are going to talk about, you may get some extra passes that they have, right? Because remember, these guys are the one with the big money bag. So please pay attention. And before we begin this one, can I request the guys who are sitting at the end? Hi, how are you? Life is good? Can you make it better? Please come in the front. Come on, everybody, please clap out loud. Let's bring back the energy here because the three guys. Can you move a little ahead towards us, please? Am I cockeyed? I think I am. Yeah. You, yeah. Yes, please come ahead. I swear it, we are not going to make it boring. If it is boring, you can claim about $100,000 from these guys. They have sent me the email, so I have the MOU. Can I can't look at the table number. Hello, how are you? Are you doing good? We have some fantastic people on stage. My Indian friends, please come in the front, come. Meet the other guys also. Thank you. Hello, hi guys, please come in the front. They will not charge you extra. Come. From table number 11, please come to the VIP table. This is called growth. Come on, yeah. The guys at table number 9, are you closing a deal like right now? Wait, let me try and get them in the front. Check this out. Yes, what is your question to our honorable guest? I'm just kidding. Please come in the front. Come, please come. Hello, Indian low. Amna, hi low. Amna, come now. Please come. Okay. Let's see. Ronin. What's up, Ronin? Please come in the front so we can have a conversation. Come. All right, now everybody. You're a part of everyone. Come. Okay, so we will try and make this interesting. Sir, you please come on to VIP. Come. VIP, come. The guys are playing games over there. Okay.
Hi.
Come to the VIP section. Come. Forget the game. The speakers are there. Come. Okay. So guys, for all the guys who are willing to listen, great. Thank you. Come. VIP. Please clap for everyone and make some noise. Thank you so much. As I said, that we will try and make this interesting and just FYI, if you guys have received a PDF with some questions, forget it. Just letting you know. I don't know who you sent it to. So we'll begin with these guys on the stage. And like how I said, I promise you we will make it fun and we can also make it extremely interactive, right? Like his hair, because when he brushes hair, it is going to like talk two-way. We will try and make the panel that way. But what's your name and from which country?
I'm Nisal from Sri Lanka.
Nisal from Sri Lanka.
Thanks.
Can you give him a round of applause for his fantastic hair? What hairstyle? I was learning. Okay, so we'll begin with my dear friend Manal. We would love to know what you have been doing in this space. But remember that I said we'll make it entertaining. So make it short, sweet and entertaining. I know all of us have done, sorry, not all of us. You guys have done some amazing work in your life. But we'll try to make it short and sweet for everyone out there. And if you like something, please clap. If you don't like something, hoot. Oh, whistle. Oh, you have to whistle. Okay, very nice. Let's go. Come on, everybody. Give it up for Manal and Rohan. We'll also turn the mic on.
Hi everyone, thank you for sticking with us until the end. Fantastic being here. My name is Manal P. I'm partner at Cosmocon. We are Abu Dhabi based VC, based in Abu Dhabi global market. We are a women-led VC, means that we want to invest and empower the women out there by giving them more funding, but not only women. We are investing in both genders. Our initiatives are more for women, for education, incubation, and just get more women in the space. So thank you for being here and looking forward to our conversation.
Okay, hello everyone, Sally, and from China. I'm working at Cosmocon, so it's globally thing, so we can invest in anyone, anywhere, like especially for Dojima, like we are very supportive. When we give money to them, we never meet them in person. We just do some online meetings at any chance or free time, and then we decide to give money. That's how it works in the travel industry. Really crazy, right? So,
amazing. We all need Sally on a cap table, right?
Yeah. So like we are continuing to do investment in crypto industry. So if anyone has good projects, please speak to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on guys, give it up for Sally. Because how many people really mean what they say, right? Now, you guys have an opportunity to connect with her offline. take down her details, do a quick elevator pitch, and don't forget to send her ULTT address too. Come on guys, please give it up for Dhaval everyone. From Newcastle Castle, Dhaval has been doing some amazing stuff. For the guys who are not clapping, hello. Sir. Bounce, sir. Clap for him, man. Come on everyone. Give it up for Dhaval. Yeah. Thank you.
That for you, bro. You have lifted the energy in the room for sure. So quick intro, I'm a fund partner with New Tribe Capital. It's an early stage fund based out of Dubai. We have been investing in different crypto narratives since 2019. Basically, just like any other VCs we have been mentioning, we are going more into the infrastructure play. Dojima Network is also one of our portfolio companies, so excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on guys, give it up for him.
Okay, my name is Sumit, and first of all, before starting my intro, I want to thank Mr. Vaibhav to setting up the scene. Like, this is crazy. All the other pitches were quite boring, but now he has like totally lighted up. Thanks a lot, Vaibhav. Like, crazy. So yeah, myself, Sumit from Tokenmetric Ventures. We are multi-strategy VC fund based out of US. We invest in like every other, mainly Web3. We are sector agnostic. And we want Web3 to innovate, so we help anyone who is making a little bit change also in Web3, because it's very early stages right now. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Come on guys, give it up for Bangalore. But before that, I would like to acknowledge and thank you guys for talking good about the energy in the room. But can I be honest with them that I don't need thank you, I need some money, buddy. Okay, so let's start from you, right? Now we all know that there is bear market. Okay, let's ask the audience first. How many what's the vibe right now in the market? Are you confident of raising? How many of us are confident in the raising right now? Say yes. Yes. 3, 4. You're confident in the raising. Very good, congratulations. Okay, so there are about 4 or 5 people who are even confident right now. How many of y'all have given up hopes in raising in this market? Please raise your hand. You have both raising hand. You have given up hope also, you have hope also. I need to talk to you. Please take it outside. Okay, yeah, can we all be a part of this discussion? How many of you all have hopes in raising in today's market? Please put your hands up. Okay, how many of you all have no hopes or very less hope, or perhaps you're bearish on raising in today's market? Please put your hands up. On which side are you guys? You're looking for no, you're part of Web3. That table there, table number 4. Web3. Web3, na? Are you bullish in raising or bearish? Bullish. Thank you. So I'm assuming, right, that people are right now very bearish in terms of raising. It could either be for the valuation, or it could be, because everybody's asking who the lead in Western, because people want to follow in. So I'm going to ask Manal this question. When it comes to raising, the sentiment right now is clearly bearish. What is your sentiment in terms of raising in today's market?
I was started by myself. We just started the fund and we raised our FPs in this environment that is very bearish, right? The macroeconomic perspective is the Fed is raising interest rates. So I noticed that now it's bearish only for crypto, and we see, for example, do a benchmark between stock market and crypto market. Bitcoin has been less affected by this clear sentiment than the other markets. So going back to our crypto scene, I think that we are more sensitive to valuations. I think now the investors, they are paying more attention to the traction that projects have. They are not just jumping in any trends, and this is great for the long term of the longevity of this industry. Because what we have seen in 2021 and 2022, actually just minus, we have been over, many NFT marketplaces having all these, even NFTs. I'm sorry guys, but I'm not an NFT person. In a sense that, yeah, having an utility and everything is great, but having all these overvaluated projects, in gaming, gamify, I guess the broker has been I mean, the system has been broken. And again, this is all great, to have these resets in the market and having that sensitivity again to see the numbers, to see the tractions, and just get like resets and go back, to stage one. So again, this is a hard time for all the projects out there. However, I guess it's very important for the longevity of this market, so we can have more meaningful projects that are bringing real add value rather than just pump and dump or speculative projects.
Thank you, Mimi. I like what you said, but you said about overvaluation and the FOMO. So Sally, I want to understand from you in terms of the FOMO that was there, right? Missing out on interesting deals just because, perhaps my friend in Westgate, I would just send him the money without even doing the D&D, right? That was the trend. We know it, the guys perhaps don't know that, but that is what has happened, right? Because Dhaval is there, Dhaval says, bro, I'm putting in 200. And they okay, bro, take my 50. Right? And most of the time we didn't even do the math. It was just there. And then we would try and figure out where the money went. So clearly that was the golden era of racing. However, when it comes to, do you think that has actually spoiled the industry in some way?
When we have a lot of revenues, that happens all the time, because when I did investments into 70s, at that time the hot topic was related to AI and AR. And at that point, a lot of funds to trade in those AI projects at that time. Later in 3 years, actually 20, nobody did AI again, but now we have all AI. So that's the chance, this kind of when we have some hot topics, we are trading and capital into the industry and attract great talents, and then it goes down. And something still new, because they are creating something there at the market, that will help to build. Yes.
Okay, I think he has a point to make, yeah.
So considering the situation, so if you take an example of how stock market works, people who are new to that, people do futures and options. But there are very, 99% people lose money in futures and options when you get leverage. Compared to similarly onto this ecosystem, when you have leverage in terms of capital, you take risk without doing risk management. To consider that. So yeah, proper DD, proper knowledge is essential in every industry. So I think it spoiled the market a little bit, but now is the right time. People are we also, when we do investments, we do a lot due diligence in terms of technology, because building something in Web3 is hard, because you need to, in the backend processes, if you see Uniswap, because the first one which achieved so much valuation, and it is decentralized and people are using it. So what happened was a lot of protocols went to their GitHub, or just create a copy the zip file, deploy it onto their own GitHub. So yeah, but innovation comes with a lot of mathematics, algorithm, which is long term that we want in crypto.
Thank you. You have a point to make on that, or can I ask you a different question?
I'll just make it short and sweet. For VCs, it's a great market to be in, which is where we are finding really amazing projects at a great valuation. I understand for projects it could be a little bit harder to raise in this particular market, but that's a part of the whole 4-year cycle, right, that we are in. When there's a lot of liquidity in the market, we do see the valuation goes up, but that's for a reason, right? A lot of money is going in as such, as institutional players, or if there would be a proper narrative which would be in play at that particular time. But in this particular market, this is when we actually find the right users, the right founders, and that's what capital is all about. It's investing in people. At that same moment, we will be able to also realize, actual what exactly the projects are going to solve for. During the bull market, in comparison, we are actually trying to just make money. In the bear market, we are finding projects which are helpful.
Okay, thank you. You said you were here for the people, right? We have a few people here. How many of us are raising currently? Okay, right question. So, any question that you want to ask these guys out here, because these guys are the one who potentially can help your project. But do you think that you are facing a challenge? Because I think it's a great place to ask a question. Please don't feel shy because if you have come here to Singapore or if you are from Singapore and you have traveled all the way to Sheraton 4 Point, please make it worth the time. So anybody has questions? Okay, can you also get a mic from there and ask the question? Much easier, no? Julian, do we have another mic in the audience? We have two there, okay, so we... Yeah, the guy with the beautiful hair. Samsul Shaku, yeah. Sorry, Sally didn't understand the joke, Sally.
Hello. So, I just want...
But please tell us your name, tell us what you're doing in the space. It's a great way to network that way, so that people can come and ask you what shampoo you use.
I don't use shampoo. So, yes, my name is Gagan. So, I work for Dojima Network. So, this is from I want to ask from VC that why do VCs invest more on bull market than bear market when you have lower valuations, right? So you get a good deal and you have same funds like even bear market or bull market, like consider that.
I don't think the last half is true that they have more money than...
Not that, like suppose now you have the same amount in bull market or bear market. So in which phase do you choose to invest? Bear market or bull market?
Though I think Dhaval answered that question, but we still, who wants to take up that question? Sally, would you like to take up that question?
Yeah, I think it's a good time to do investment this year because, yeah, and this year, like, we can find people who are really building with low valuation. Actually, I saved a lot of money, like last year, I didn't invest a lot because I think the valuation is too high and it's not rational to do such kind of investment. So I think to save money for me.
Thank you, Sally. That was a great answer. It does make sense when people in the bear market are still building and still struggling, even though the projects might not seem very valuable at that point of time. But those are the ones which are the real stars that shine later. It's a good approach. It's a very good answer. Thank you. Anybody else wants? Oh, sorry, please, Dhaval.
No, I'll just compliment what you mentioned. What every project and builders out there also needs to understand is like from a VC mentality perspective, what we are looking for, right? So essentially, from a VC point of view, if you are investing in a project and then you are waiting for 2 years, and let's imagine at that particular point in time, even though project have the right intention, they want to actually bring the best out of it, they run out of cash. What is going to happen? Right? So from that perspective as well, from a DD side of it, it's very important for us to look at the cash flow, budget analysis. Nowadays, like, we are not just looking for the normal due diligence that the other VCs were doing in the bear market or bull market. It's more about like payroll, what are the sort of financial projections that they are looking for. We have invested, and most of the VCs out there as well, on projects during the bull market that pretty much again survive after 1.5 years. Even though every single project out there has the right intentions over there. From a VC point of view, what I'm trying to say is, we also need to survive, right? Not just a project. So essentially, we want to actually make sure that we are investing in projects which are going to be around for longer term, and it will be successful for the parties.
Dhaval, just one more question, follow up to this one, to your perspective. If you say that people that have invested in a bull market and certain projects haven't reaped the rewards as expected, in a bear market, when you do your project analysis, would you be looking at the bottom line things as well? So when a person presents their project report, should they be including that in there? I'll just play the devil's advocate over here for whoever's listening. That would that be a good approach for them to include their bottom line fund, the expenditure that they will be incurring to be at a survival stage, a progression stage, and stage 2 further from there. Would that be a good approach?
For sure. I mean, it all goes back to the roadmap for that particular project. So it's not really one size fits all sort of an approach which can be taken over here. Depending on the project, like let's take an example over here, it's a gaming project, and that gaming project is trying to come up with a 5 years projection. It's not really realistic in this particular space, right? But if we look at the infrastructure project, then they are giving us 5 to 10 year projection, and at the same time they are able to actually bring revenue, or mention about the revenue that can be understood within X number of years. That could be potentially understood as such, right? So yeah, it just depends on every single case.
Fair play, thank you.
Thank you. Can we have another question? And so we can have one question for Minal, and we can have one question for Sumit here. Yeah.
Hi, this is Devyo. I'm the founder of Turf. We are a GameFi infrastructure for permissionless hosting of esports events. So we have been bootstrapping for the last 5 months, right? And when we are raising, so we are doing our seed round. So what all are the aspects you see, right, while setting up a valuation and for a fair valuation, right, in terms of what we are doing, also considering we are a Web 2.5 product, right? So what all are the factors you see now?
So when you say Web 2.5, you always have maybe studio, you have experience, right?
Yeah, like the product lies in the middle, right? We are not giving a complete Web3 solution, but Web3 is something like where it is needed, we are pitching in Web3, right? So it's kind of a Web 2.5 solution where Web 2 and Web 3 aspects both are there, both are collating where things are needed.
And do you open yourself to Web 2 space that you have a report that something has been successful in what you're within, or you
I have been in the Web3 space from 2017. I have a track record around building things in Web3, but not specifically in the Web2 ecosystem. I'm kind of entering into this ecosystem with these.
We go like, with textbook, right? Like, in order to increase your valuation. First of all, what we as our analysts, they have mentioned, it's really like I think it's just there are ways, right? Like, there is the AI ways where all the whole industry just go out, right? Then exposed, and then it's like they can require, right? So your evaluation is really depending on how macro level is working story, right? So that's why it's back right now, like the real market, so clarify, right? The second thing is subtraction. I mean, second thing I would say is the tech, right? How it is, how it works and everything, and I'm not able to put that because like that's the most important. The third thing, which is the most important thing, is subtraction. How many users do you have? And I think, in the gaming industry, that's the most, that's the thing that is really missing in a lot of projects. How many people do we have who can play all the games that we are having? I mean, I've seen that in the games we have that amazing. How many people do we have to do that, right?
how it is happening, before your sections happening, it's okay, we have to make sure that we have everything that is like way to work.
Thank you so much. Come on, please give it up for Manal and the person there. This is the longest I heard Manal speak. Okay. One last question for Sumit, and we would like to end this panel on a high note because the food is here, and I'm sure a couple of us are hungry. But before that, I would like to quickly thank the buddies of the speakers who have come in. Shailaja is here, Masha is here. Masha? Nisha, right? Okay, Nisha, Deep from Google is here, Julia is here, a couple of other people who came in and went. So thank you so much for coming over on my invitation. It really means a lot. This clearly means, this clearly shows your confidence on me is too much. But any which way, the last question for Sumit, from Token Metrics, can we have a short question? Maybe a little longer answer, but because you are now in between them and the dinner. So please understand, you are in a very critical situation. Right? So whatever you say, you're still in between the dinner. Okay, one last question for Sumit. Anyone? Julia, are you raising? Would you like to? Okay, she's still eating. Okay. Naveen has also come from Times of India. Thank you, Naveen. He is head of APAC or Singapore for Times. So thank you, Naveen, for coming in. So good old buddy. Any you want to ask the VC the question? Julia, you're raising, right? You also do a podcast. Come on. Can you? Yeah, thank you. She's also a podcast host out of Dubai and travels around the world. See, I'm giving you a shout out. So please stand up nicely and ask a question to Sumit around VCs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Come.
No, stand there only and ask a question.
Okay. Other question.
To VC question.
How do you see developing in this industry in future 2 years? Yeah.
Okay.
In Asia market.
Lovely. So if I could just fine-tune that question because I caught her off guard while she was eating. Thank you so much. Come on, guys, give it up for Julia, everyone. So in the next couple of years, what trend do you see? Basically, if you can tell us, then we can go all in.
I would keep it short. We are really looking into layer one, and the other one which I really like is iGaming. Like rollbit. Then there's one interesting project that we are talking to is from US. It's Parcel. So what they do is you can trade cities in US like Austin, all other cities. So that concept they are on Solana. So like new things which are very innovative and the founders. We really bet on founders to be honest. That will, how about 2 years is like compared to the Web 2 world, they think on a 10-year or 15-year horizon. In crypto, we do 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years max. So yeah, we'll see a lot of new stuff coming in the coming years. That's what I was able to see on Token 249, a lot of new projects, new ideas which were not like in last goal cycle, as the last panel also shared similar. Yeah.
Thank you. Come on, everybody. Give them a huge round of applause. You are not done. I'm just going to ask you. Thank you, Julia. You can sit down and enjoy your meal. Thank you. My quick question, okay? And this is very close-ended. Which is one project that you regret not investing?
We regret not getting into rollbit pretty early. We were very late on that, but still we make it.
Okay. And Dhaval, my question to you is that when you look for a founder, what is one thing that is non-negotiable when you're looking into a founder?
The founder needs to have, well, it depends on the project, but like if the technical background would be always a definite. Also, founder coming with advantage from the same industry as such.
All right. So you're not pro first-time founders.
No, it's actually good to have a first-time founders. They would come up with a lot of innovative ideas, and the founders are also over time they actually would understand what the product would require. They would have an idea needs to be developed. So yeah.
Thank you. Sally, my question to you is that when you are thinking of investing into a company, generally in your head, subconsciously, do you decide that in the first 2, 3, 5 minutes of the meeting? Like you know that you will invest in that guy or in that project?
No, like I maybe at least 2 or 3 meetings and to try to understand the whole company, background, and not.
What is a red flag for you? Red flag, yeah.
Okay, bad reputation and bad track record. That definitely doesn't work for me. Like somebody try to maybe steal money from VC and that doesn't work and not build anything and or they just change like if manage their business something like this, then we are rejected.
Brilliant. Thank you. Mimi, let's address a challenge that people are facing in the world, right? Oh wait, this was just okay, so I'm not going to ask you the longer question. Lucky you. I'm going to ask you a very quick question. When it comes to raising, do you think because this is seen in Web 2, right? You having a tag from an Ivy League or from a very reputable college like India, you have IIM and IITs and stuff. Do you think somewhere that is still a trend in Web 3 that education matters from which college that you come in from? Okay. So the last question is just close-ended, yes or no? Do you think if startups don't need raising, should they raise? Yes or no? Should startups be forced to raise because of peer pressure just to add on to their valuation even if they don't need to raise? Okay, so you're saying that even if you're bootstrapped and if you're self-sufficient, but still go and raise more money? Okay, that was the same thing.
Yeah, treasury needs to be raising money.
It gives you a lot of experimentation. When you have a transfer cash, you cannot experiment a lot. Yeah. But I think have a limitation on that as well, that how much pressure you take.
So I really like that now the panel is suddenly split, right? Earlier, so 2 of them are saying yes and 2 of them are saying kind of, be careful and all of that. But that's the idea of bringing them together so you guys can have a conversation. I would love to thank the entire team of Dojima Network. Can you please give them a huge round of applause? I'm sure the guys haven't had breakfast, lunch or dinner. Have you spoken to your girlfriend yet? Not yet. He's not even called his girlfriend yet because a lot of energy goes into putting up an event like this. I would like to thank Keith. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is the Cosmocon at Token 2049. Thank you everyone. And before we leave, let's take a picture. Thank you. Please give a guy a huge round of applause, everyone.
Huge round of applause.
Thank you. Yeah. Actually, I also want to call my friend, bro. Come and take photo, bro. You only, bro. No, you come. I would love him to also be able to. You said we should double, no? Come on, guys. Give him a huge round of applause, everyone. Thank you. And for the lazy guys like me, when you are putting up a tweet or on Instagram, I'm Webs on Twitter. which is WEBZZ. If you guys really liked it, then I should see some tweets. I'm Vaibhav Ali, that's my name on Instagram.
You can tag me at so many tweets. It's CM Nisal in Twitter and
We can find us on newtrack.capital.
I will show my Telegram QR code for you later. Yeah, and also like in Twitter and ask that company. Like yeah. Maybe in crypto or like grooming ventures. Thank you everyone. Enjoy your dinner.
Please use the hashtag Cosmocon 2049. A lot of people have paid a lot of money to be here, so make sure that they get a bit of mileage for it.
And Dojima Network. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I did. Thank you all. Thank you so much for having us over. Lucky and Nita, I don't know why I said Lucky because that's so lucky here. But come on, everyone, please give them a huge round of applause. Bring up the energy. A little higher? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vaibhav, for keeping it very energetic and lively. Folks, the buffet is open. Please proceed and come back here so that we can have more people speak over here for you. Buffet is right outside.
Go ahead, please. Oh, you want to
दोनों भी अच्छी
Yeah, they can. So, yeah. We're creating a circular there. Circular currency. So actually we are building a stable coin in the Bitcoin blockchain. We are developing prepaid lightning card which can be used as the local currency. Partners, we have some questions to answer, but we are trying to reduce the fees as much as possible. For Sri Lankan plan trying to the lighting network, which has 0 fees for so we actually also we would currently we have no partners for now. We have built on the hard gold card open source hard solution. It is basically lighting wallet. You can actually pay like this and get the receipt. Show me the money. Lighting. Currently you need to also pay the POS money. Yes.
So we actually made the POs by ourselves.
Yes.
Yes. Machine and
There's another thing, we have another wrapper. So the existing one, we just QR payment option. More centralized QR. So we are building a wrapper around that. So merchant doesn't need to get onboarded with us. So when you scan the QR from normal you pay QR from there, it will be related to your product. So when you pay, we are connecting that QR to Bitcoin transaction. So if it gets on the transaction, we do the offering.
We already have actually non-Bitcoin crypto wallet for the crypto payment solution for the Sri Lanka, actually big hotel chains in Sri Lanka and few vendors in the electronic field. So it's like spreading like fire, right? We have the largest community. Yes. Yeah. So like you have your own PO. Using crypto, yeah. Yeah, like you guys have the exercise like this. So and that when it comes to Sri Lanka, we have zero taxes at the moment. Yeah. So
we are a crypto community since 2017. So we were educating everything about crypto and Bitcoin.
And we are having educating sessions all around the country, different areas. So then we have like every month, and so crypto meets up every 3 months or so. And we have a huge Russian community in down south, in like down part of the country, and they don't have any method to like any banking method. Merchants get LKR from us, I mean local currency from us, and we get the credit. So when the customers are paying, then it comes to us, and we are settling it in field. It's like it is the weekly. Yeah. Currently we are actually in the beta phase, so it's really good. Tell you one thing, rather than fiat, Ethereum, like fiat will not go and pay extra 500 rupees. Yeah, that is right. But the merchants, they actually, so, but you merchant will get what they get exactly. We have actually already explained to the merchants, but the adoption there, some of the merchants, they really like LKR.
We are telling that only from crypto, from this crypto
Win-win situation for you and the customer. Exactly. Yeah. And he doesn't lose the wants to pay it. So yeah, at the moment, so like I said, it's in the alpha episode beta, we are playing it around, but our community is really big. Our outreach is big. So if we could get some insights, we could actually reach
local market in the number of, let's say, 1 million.
But it's so that, yeah, 1 million. So that's 5% whole population. In the last one, a lot of people it was cheaper to buy. Yeah. You know what? If you have, let's say that you have $1,000, you come to Sri Lanka.
It's the same in Sri Lanka.
So if you sell it, you can actually you can return $1,200 like
Because
good job.
because of the low spread in the B2B market. Currently it's the same because we have only finance B2B option of platform.
Yeah, really. So issue is we run normally. It's a smooth operation currently.
So in ground development, we go to every city, we have a kilometer built up there, and then we have
Yes.
how do you accept it?
Yeah. So we are creating that's why I said we are creating a circle economy and education. So when
if we need to come from the top to bottom approach, we need money for that.
Stop means the government.
And they are paying for that sector.
Next level, yeah.
The most attractive sectors are electronic sector, we have
So we have actually solved everything after
2.5 is actually from structure of assembly department by this period.
So yeah, so we already have those factors figured out. So this actually is flowing between that actually is actually happening with us in Sri Lanka. And the communities it does, the guys are actually, we have already had what we are currently doing is educating and everything in the country, we are actually spending it on our own, right? So, yeah, so when it comes to like one event, one meetup, like it costs around 1,000. Every meetup, everything we earn, we actually give back to the community. So, one is revenue generation, yes, and also I will talk with like we have a lot in skill in the game and everything. But what I would say, sometimes you can say people opt for
the roadmap give a token how people spend it. Based on their expenditure, we are going to give a token as a decentralized. There's no any way to buy tokens, only with the payments with us. So it's like this. Yeah, we have the way you can account. How are you actually, I don't see a token at this level. Just want it by future project.
Yeah, I think about roadmap. Yeah, like a roadmap. I think like that. They talk about
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, keep challenging me.
A lot of meetups in See here? All our partners. We are doing tomorrow our own event. Very new. What do you JD. I'll forward it. And no, wait. Thank you very much for being us.
Yeah, folks, we have Vikram over here who's going to be talking a little bit about hypersign.
Come on, Vikram, let's do it, Vikram.
Give him some attention and love.
Vikram, hey! Please wave at your fans, Vikram.
Where are you going to sit? On the VIP?
Hi guys. Can you guys hear me? My fans, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you everyone for being here and listening to all the project speak and the VCs. We had amazing panel. I'm going to present HyperSign. My name is Vikram and I'm one of the co-founder at HyperSign. HyperSign is a cross-chain identity infrastructure for Web3, and we envision to enable privacy-based compliance for the new people. As you know, like most in Web3, we actually don't have identity, right? And because of that, there has been a lot of spams, scams, which keeps happening. And then there is no way to actually, pinpoint or find who the scammer is. Like there are some ways that you can find over the data available on different blockchains, but exactly like who this person is, you have not much information. On the other hand, if you look at the regulators, they are trying to bring in more and more regulations. For example, in Europe, we have now MiCA, have come out, and similarly, other countries are enforcing, different laws. So, but if the bottom line is like if you try to understand deeper into this and try to summarize the problem of identity in Web3 ecosystem, it has two major points. One is that there is no reliable way for dApps to verify users while maintaining the privacy of the user. I say privacy because Web3 users cannot promote private data on a public blockchain. So there needs to be some standardization of approaches for building and creating these identities. And the second one, which is more important than this, is that every user is actually siloed into their ecosystem. Like Polygon have their own ecosystem where the identity of the user is siloed on it. And now imagine, currently we are able to move some liquidity via the bridges, but there is no proper way for a user's identity to move across different layer 1 blockchains. So we have analyzed these two major problems, and that's why we have built HyperSign. It's a cross-chain identity infrastructure where it helps Web3 developers to rapidly build and deploy cross-chain ID products, and also empowers users to control and manage their digital identity. On its core, you have the app chain that provides DID and verifiable credential service. Then on top of it, we have SSI SDK. So this is a JavaScript and Golang SDK that talks to the app chain. And then on top of it, we have if you don't want to get into the complexity of these low-level SDK, then you could possibly use our SSI APIs. And to bind all of these together into a nice UI, we have something called HyperSign Identity Studio, which runs on top of an encrypted data vault. Why there is a requirement for an encrypted data vault? Because by default, user uses just MetaMask or any wallet to interact with the dApp. Now, dApp developers don't want to store users' private data. That's how the thesis is, but some of us end up storing data and misusing it, but that's a different discussion. But the idea is that you should not be able to, should not be storing user data. So where this verified data gets stored, and that's why you need an encrypted data vault, which directly talks to the different wallets that the user is interacting with. So we have provided support for MetaMask Kepler, and we also have our own identity wallet. This sits on top of the data vault, and the major differentiator for HyperSign from any other ID project is that we support many different key signature schemes that I'm going to talk about in the next slide. But before that, some idea about how we are envisioning movement of identity across these different ecosystems. So we have done some research and have done many different use cases in Cosmos ecosystem where we have leveraged the IBC layer to verify ZK proofs across to these three chains that are in the slide. And what we could do
was a user was able to do KYC on HyperSign and then access a dApp on Osmosis testnet where it was a verified user could access, and this all interaction happened via RPC. Similarly, we are now extending it to EVM ecosystem via CCIP and XLR bridge. Our DID method is now approved by W3C, and as I was telling that we are the only one that provides protocol level baby jab support. Most of these other IDE applications or protocols they provide it on an app layer, but on HyperSign you can actually write DIDs with baby jab keys, and then this leverages for developers. It makes it so easy because now you can use all the JavaScript SDK of Circum and write snarks and then use HyperSign for attestation. So it's completely compatible with baby jab and zero knowledge proof based features. Now ZK is very complex for developers to understand and consume, and this is where the developer ends up spending time. I, as a developer as well, when we were building it, we had a lot of challenges. So what we did is something called ZK Outpost. It's an abstraction contract. So basically, every layer 1 chain that we support has something called outpost contract, which has abstracted all these ZK features and then provided a seamless API, which then the consumer dApps can just request from interaction with our abstraction contract and avail all the ID verification features, which includes onboarding identity providers, verifying the user's private data or different proofs that you would be generating. So these are all abstracted into this ZK Outpost, and I feel that it makes developers' life really easy. Another feature is that we have fixed fee governance, which means that the DIDs and the credential that you will be writing on HyperSign will never change the cost. So let's say that you are a CIO and you have analyzed the cost of X amount of users to onboard on a blockchain. So this cost, even in full run, if the token goes higher or lower, this cost doesn't change because we have something called fixed fee governance. Now, how does this work is basically based on governance scheme. We are able to reduce or increase the price of the SSI interactions. Business model is actually simple. Everything is on-chain, so all the features that I talked about has all these interaction on-chain. So you pay gas fee for these. Some also have interesting things like, let's say you are a lot of transactions are happening via some credential verification system. So a part of these token goes to the community pool, which then will be consumed by the community based on the governance mechanism. This is how we envision it. Like initially, we want to onboard most of the Cosmos app chains, and then try to act like a bridge for identity verification between the EVMs, starting with Polygon, because we had some product which has a lot of Polygon dApps using it. So we want to keep supporting them. Hence, we try to build a seamless, onboarding for them, and that's how we envision HyperSign moving forward. So to tackle this go-to-market strategy, we have 3 different products that we have built. So for developers to rapidly deploy identity, we have something called Identity Studio. It has few features, but mostly it's like interaction via APIs and the account abstraction that comes out of the box. And this is the most interesting product that we have, and we have one of the biggest Indian company in entertainment industry who's deploying this across different their venues. So it's very simple product, it does KYC, but it does KYC in offline way. And what I mean is that in India there is something called Aadhaar, and we have implemented offline Aadhaar verification. Then we moved it into a protocol on a smart contract. So automated, identity verification available for smart contracts to verify Aadhaar identity. And we have very interesting way to stamp the ZK proofs where we are not exposing any of the users' identity data, which I can talk offline.
For the Web3 side, we have a viral marketing tool which I was talking about before. A lot of products from India and across APAC have used this. It's a very simple airdrop tool, but where we focus is like stop bots from taking over the airdrop, and this has crossed 500,000 plus users at one time. There are many other possible use cases like on-chain KYC, on-chain review and rating platform. We have 3 other projects deploying which are into this category, on-chain review and rating. DAO votings could be explored. There is one company that is deploying document verification. So testnet is live. We have 75 plus validators, many partnerships, out of which there are some investors, some of the projects that have consumed some of our apps that we have built before, and then some identity providers. We keep doing a lot of developer engagement. So far, we have done in almost 6 plus cities. In last quarter, we have onboarded 1,500 plus developers. Total participated, and actually 500 plus developers on our platform, and 11 startups have started building. This is the team. Irfan, he's the CEO, and he has around 10 years experience building identity projects. So he was part of many national ID projects in Middle East and Africa back in the time when he was working for Cisco and Citrix. I am Vikram. I handle the growth and strategy and mostly the Web3 side of things. My brother Vishwas, who is the CTO, he was one of the core protocol engineers for Indian CBDC that you see now. It has 2 other versions before, so he was one of the 4 engineers before. So that's like the team structure. Then we have like 10 more members in different 4 in protocol engineering, 2 in application development, and 2 in front-end design. We are incubated by Interchange Foundation, builds program endorsed by Data Security Council of India and supported by Decentralized Identity Foundation. And we are now moving into a broader name. So it's called Entity Protocol. It started as a passwordless authentication scheme. Then we ended up building the whole identity spec. So we feel now the use case have evolved a lot, like lot more use case can be built. So now we are calling it as an entity protocol. Entity name was derived from the identity name, so id.entity. And yeah, so that's our new name. And thank you very much everyone for listening to me, and let's together we build an internet that's truly human-centric. Thank you very much.
Shall we?
Vikram, that previous slide one.
Did you have the job?
Vikram, Q&A, I have no question.
Shall we? You got it? You want to go back to the top?
Yeah, wait.
So Francis,
All right. So decentralized identity at this point of time hasn't reached mass adoption, and it looks far away from it. What measures are you taking on to make sure that it reaches to a level where everyone has it, like how we have a phone today, or how we have like an email ID today, right?
I totally agree to your point. And there is another point also. Nobody gives a shit about privacy, right? Like, let's be honest. No.
Especially in India, right? Because we are aware and we have accepted that all our data is compromised.
Yeah.
So when you're sending nudes, be careful.
But on a serious note, you see now, everyone who goes to Aadhaar verification to our protocol already have a wallet. They don't even know that. The point is that gradually it is going to come. But until then, we have to find interesting ways. For example, we say like WorldCoin is whatever. But then it's also actually onboarding some people into Web3 ecosystem via some sort of identity verification. Although this is funny in terms of technology, but when you see just educating the masses about decentralized identity can exist, right? HyperSign, what we did is like partner with these giant companies and try to fit in, find the gaps where they have problems and build solution for them, but in the end provide the complete stack as a solution rather than just an API system, right? So for example, the other product I was talking about, which was Kavach, here, every time a user does a facial recognition, it is similar to that, and you do a Aadhaar verification, there is data vault which gets generated, and later on, once we can just roll out a UI where user can see all their ZK proofs, meaning what type of proofs they have exchanged with whatever business in one simple UI. But it's like a work in progress. We have to work with the government or work with the businesses and slowly build the adoption. The main question, it boils down to find the problem that a business has and try to provide a solution and then work your way up. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Real quick. Thank you. Thank you so much for the question. Sorry, for the answer. We have Octopus Network who will be presenting now.
Thanks for making my job easy. I didn't know you guys had the slides. Okay. Mr. Plenty on the computer. So, thanks for having us. Happy to support Cosmos Network events as always. Very active in different ecosystems. We're infrastructure built on Near Protocol. I would have provided a few more slides to be effective, but this is really the most important slide. So I'll just keep this up and we can kind of go from there. So Octopus Network has been on mainnet for 2 years. For the last 2 years, we've been supporting Substrate Chain, which is Polkadot type chains. And this is a very small market. It's very specialized. There's lots of reasons why Polkadot has its moment, but really we did Polkadot first so that we could spend the majority of our resources on Cosmos. We also received Interchain Foundation grant a few years ago for ICS 10, which is the same standard that Composable Finance used to be able to make the first connection on mainnet just about a month ago between Polkadot and Osmosis. So very valuable IBC development that we're responsible for helping with. And now that we're not focusing on substrate chains as much, we still have them in production with us. Now we're focusing on tooling for Cosmos chains. So this is probably the most interesting one that we're doing. We were mentioned in the IBC roadmap about a week ago, I think, when it was posted on Twitter. And that was largely for the existing work with Substrate Chains IBC, which is already published and going into production with Astro Network and a few other smaller Substrate Chains, but also for this work to help Near Protocol get IBC. So right now, if you wanted to launch a relatively small, basically consumer chain, you really only have one option. It's economics from this. Liquidity, it's not super large, it's still very good, but the idea of having a layer one for liquidity is, I think, much stronger for app chains that want to draw from liquidity in order to bring liquidity to their project and pay users in an easy method to onboard people into an app chain. So this is the sort of core of the new offering that we're working on, because existing IBC users connect with Near Protocol. Of course, as
22%
earlier, the application layer for IBC is very critical.
You see mentioned here is IBC Tau, which is not the application layer, and of course on top of that sits IBC application layer. So at the application layer, there's still some more work to do, but you know, at the base level, we're looking at lifetime verification both through a proxy and through the equivalent of DA. It's not labeled as such, but that's basically what we're looking at here is proxy chains where each of the two different types of blockchains will communicate, and then copies of each chain so you can validate and see, oh, okay, I am able to trust this other network, exchange assets between them, you know, move USDC back and forth without worrying about unhappy or anything like that. So this is the thing I'm most proud of in our offering. We've been doing IBC work for many years. We were a research group before we were active in production. So the crux of the new economics that we're using to support this IBC works like this. Basically, if you have Near Capital, Near Protocol's token, then we want to support that with the existing Near Protocol ecosystem. And that means that a very small amount of emissions actually go to OCT holders and Near Protocol validators. So this is the sort of subtenant lease proof of stake that we're using for the new Cosmos chain offering. We are already using lease proof of stake for the current substrate chains, but this is the modification we've made to support Near ecosystem more directly and make it easier for Cosmos type chains to launch with Near. They will need some capital security that's going to come in the form of the Near Protocol token. So this is the easiest way I can explain that logic, where Octopus DAO only has control over a few key economic parameters. For example, minimum required to launch a validator in the network, the fee in order to enter the network, and things like that. So there is connectivity between the sort of old relay, which is the contracts on Near, and the new relay, which are newly launched contracts on Near, premiering next month. And that is mostly through Octopus DAO, because Octopus DAO would be the sort of key holder, responsible entity that manages these economic parameters. So in the way that we provide different support, this is really more of a Near ecosystem outline. But this is one of the reasons why, as an L1, it's very worthwhile to consider connecting a Cosmos chain to a larger entity, because there's only so far you can go. Of course, you can bring up IBC relationships with anybody, but if you're a young group and maybe you have experience with application layer IBC, it's a little bit easier to just start with one entity. We are happy to help keep that simple, and that doesn't mean that we're asking you to, commit to us too much. It means that we're asking you to consider committing part of your work to Near Protocol's network. Obviously, this is a little bit different from, connecting to the hub. I'm personally an old fan of Atom. I've been studying it for many years. At the same time, the value that you get from a layer 1 and the user base that you get from a layer 1 is much higher than what you get from the hub. So the L1 that is Near has a bunch of different organizations that are sort of worth campaigning to. Calimero being a little bit more on the private blockchain side, Aurora being a critical EVM partner, and Machina being a storage layer. So there's lots of different user bases you can communicate with. There's lots of different tooling to take advantage of on your protocol, and that's really the majority of our offering in a Cosmos nutshell. I'm happy to talk about more details about our IBC work, but to be clear, ICS 10 is not in production yet. It has been validated after a couple years of back and forth. But the closest thing to what's in production for ICS 10 right now is Proposable Finance's application of that, and we'll be bringing ours into production with Aster in the immediate future. So I'm pretty excited about the new product launch for Cosmos Chains. I think this is really a unique thing. This is part of the reason I asked Sunny and Zaki about the inter-ecosystem IBC, because that's why I originally invested in Atom, is I thought, hey, I think that it would be really excellent if we had a standard to communicate across different blockchains. And to their point, it gets much more difficult at the application layer, but somebody's got to start at the bottom layer of being able to validate blocks and affirm that transactions will actually complete it. So yeah, it's an infrastructure project, and we don't have direct application layer examples that I can show here. The mainnet is live at the mainnet.oct.network, so you're welcome to ask me about it. I'm happy to give away some tokens for people to try it. But yeah, the core offering that is on the mainnet right now, again, is for substrate chains, and our new offering for Cosmos chains will be launching early next month. I think that'll do. Actually, I'll give one more shout out to our sort of peer and partner Kai, because representative for Kai had to move on to another event, to 49 is time for juggling. So Kai was a early supporter of Octopus Network. We really appreciate their work. They have significantly changed their design since we first started working with them. But the model to use off-chain sort of spoolers or validators that will take in information from multiple points on another chain, bring that together, unify it into another data set, and then store that on Arweave. We at Octopus still value that very much. We're still interested in working with Kai in the future. But since they changed their business model, it's a little bit tougher for us to afford it to pay for our app chains for it, because we do pay for a lot of services for the app chains that join our network. So yeah, shout out to Kai, and I think that's good enough for Octopus Network. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Sheldon.
天相关广告不会出来。
要赶快下来。పైకి చూడండి అది ఇది చూడండి
快点给我一些 airdrop。坐下聊什么事？刚才认识，但是还蛮聊得来的。对啊。
之前是比利时跳过去了，现在通过那个就是说
So this was part of the problem of how protocol works. Like if you want to put a functional token on there that doesn't care protocol, you're effectively paying extra if you've never been included. Exactly. So they fixed it. It does automatically trigger it now. Automatically, as long as it's lower cost than the total acquisition price, usually it's less. Then it will automatically be paid. So it puts the while on interaction. So it's like, oh, hey, yeah, you need to write extra to the I'm participating because there's been quite a
他想是把作为顾客，然后想办法让他们变成微微去
我们可以问是可以，这是不是你随便用这一个相机对，随便用这个相机都会把这些做出来，这是我们的配合。如果自己没做好，这个 advice 会多问。
I was fighting in jail this year.
你家人合的一个是，我们都有看出来。对啊，所以我们帮客做宣传，我们也要把自己做这个宣传。你用是微信吗？还是？对，如果有 WhatsApp 就可以 WhatsApp，不然微信这边。行，那微信点。
扫一下你的回圈好了。
微信也是，对，
你也不用用英文，
只用中文。对，微信，因为只有中国用户他才会去。对啦，也是来到 token 才有这个。
It has come a long way.
谢谢了，今晚最大的收获就是你了。好听吗？今晚这个地方。
I do like your protocol very much. I originally signed up for adamant system because I really didn't like the idea that you a single entry of smart contract platform. Been like on work the entire thing over Ethereum, right? So why should we have to change smart contract? It's usually the same thing before. It's the same reason.
哪一个 protocol 会做的？这是因为
especially if it's built in JavaScript. JavaScript infrastructure. But I mean, it's easy, but it's very inefficient. But anyway, I'm getting to my point is just that I think the year does have some value in the way that it is a useful technology.
到现在这个每15分钟做一个动作，
So I'm going to try to.
可是还是最大的
competitions, but I don't really care. This, the tech is where it is.
他是那个定海神针的。
So Doom slug is the consensus mechanism. That is how you sort of default to most optimal security settle bots very fast. Because the current version here is actually a software.
扣顶啊，然后有一些系统的
similar logic for substrate chains, worked out the same header and finalization requirements, totally different product, but some of the same logic, which is why your blocks are actually used. It is really productive. Everyone says, oh, the transaction time is 2 seconds, but it's 1 second. Because it's modular consensus. It's not one block starting at 4 milliseconds and then at the same time. It's right, exactly. So many different nodes. The idea being that you have the unified state that you can read as the validator or as the artist, that there's no doubt it's going to take a chance to make that. It is really interesting. It's also the basis for our tax system. I know we've been asked many times.
有去过台湾吗？有，去过了。我有刚。也有在那个新加坡队。我觉得新加坡都当兵的时候去过。对，那个时候当兵之后也去。
Just got to meet my boss in person for the first time the other day. Finally got to see him in person. And I can't imagine leaving. I have to work other jobs. Part-time jobs, keep it away, things like that. Marketing team doesn't need to be full-time.
趁现在那个都打开了，疫情结束过后可以去了。
对，台湾还不错，那个什么都好，吃的。
之前也是在做，就是 IT 相关产业这样。
我需要时间就代表什么做那个什么很多年前了，然后现在对工作的一方面关心的是这样子一个
They blew up auctions. This was like the core feature of the Valorant, right? So, auction. Yeah, they're
大家都很专业。今天来这边真的是倍感荣幸。自己有没有吃到？
I understand that, but also they have to fix their characters. It's like the main point of competition where Octopus and them have the same
觉得申请门上好，因为他刚刚那个 NFT 不让我，我觉得看这有没有注册账号。对，然后。哦，对啊。对啊，因为我需要空投。
Yeah, I heard Rob's talk earlier this year about ephemeral block spacing. That's very interesting.
Yeah, something like certificate entry. Underneath there is a actual backup.
No, it's semi-correlated. When you have parachain, you have these identifiers and really chain, and you can very clearly say, oh, okay, here's the block where children on these chain right? Like for ephemeral blocks, the proposal is that you don't need to register a parachain, you don't need to register a parathread. You just pay for the block space directly in the contract on the chain, and then you have a certain number of blocks over a certain period of time because you paid in advance the fees, and then you just store inside that space, and you're going to that was before they made the announcement about the auctions. I'm like, okay, I'm glad you guys are being more creative now, but welcome to the party. You can't just play this like 128 number based scarcity game. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, they've been on this journey for a while, and it's like, hey, we have to figure it out. Someone's doing the same shit. I hope they both focus on the
Who's copying language? I mean, I didn't say like you remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Keep in touch. It's a good one. So, sir, I'm taking a long time. I just enjoyed this discussion. I'm not lying about what they're doing. Yeah, exactly. You guys are putting effort, brain is being and
I can't tell you about the number side because I'm also not the greatest investor in the world. But on the technology side, I can tell you, talking to Cosmos ecosystem folks like Jeff and some of these guys, IBC is going to be the focus in a really productive manner. And also, Polkadot was very like, we are the relay chain for 2 years. And that meant that our offering wasn't friendly to them, and some other solo chain projects on Saito, they were not welcome in the Polkadot ecosystem. SAITO, Saito. It's an arcade system, and they actually had a web browser-based substrate. Nobody else did this. Polkadot this year, but still, they were very early to do that. You could log on, you could automatically generate your address, you could start tokens on arcade games, you could withdraw those tokens, you could change and sell them, you never had to maintain a seed phrase, nothing like that. Like, it was very interesting concept. I think it's something it's not inks. Although I didn't want to say word method, it was. So like they had this kind of tribalism, right? Exactly, their thing. So they had some trouble with this tribalism a little bit earlier on, but now because they see the relay chain is like a very things are like, hey, yeah, come back, guys, come back. Okay, no problem, sure, respect. But you gotta give us something. You have to do something worth doing. The Cosmos stuff is much more transparent and honest and straightforward because it's been the same way the whole time, right? And it's been going on a little bit longer also. Yeah, it's
I'm not sure, but like after 2 years,
the bundle proposal had like, it was a